one of our past presidents of Tolly, Mr. T.V. Ramaswamy, this was his original brainchild. And he felt that there was, unlike some other clubs that he was aware of, we had no umbrella, no protection for our caddies. So he got hold of 8 of us. And fortunately, we find that amongst the group, we have at least 4 past presidents of Tolly, and one is a current vice president. And then the rest, all those who are serving, are very prestigious GC members who have contributed a lot to also to Tolly. And therefore, currently we are 9 trustees. And that's where we link with each other. We communicate with each other. We decide our policies together. And always it is unanimous, obviously. And we implement it immediately, whatever we agree upon. And I'm very pleased to note that today, if you were to talk to, randomly pick up a few caddies and ask them that before 2014, when we were not there, and we were formed in 2014, to what the situation is today, you will get an honest feedback. And I would expect it to be very positive.
See, what Rajan has said is absolutely right. But the key part is that everybody in this particular group are not only very passionate golfers, but they're also people who really care about the caddies and the welfare of the caddies. See, after all, the caddy's income is not only seasonal, it all depends upon whether he gets a game on a particular day or not. And when we were discussing, we felt that they should have something to fall back upon in times of need, in times of sickness, illness, or whatever we may like to call it. And that is how the whole thing started, that we will start looking after the health and the well-being of the caddies. That was the first and foremost objective of CBT.
Correct.
And it took a lot of hard work by somebody, one of the persons who's not a golfer in this group, or he's just a part-time golfer, I would like to call him, is Mr. Raman Addi. But he is the legal brain behind it. And he is the person who helped us in constituting this Caddies Benevolent Trust, in getting the bylaws laid down, and getting it registered, getting the income tax registration done, and all that. So he has been the actual person who's doing a lot of work behind the scenes, as I would like to call it.
Absolutely right.
See, when we first started, we started primarily with the objective of looking after their health. So in the first instance, we said that, in fact, Rajan and a few other members of the trustees got together and convinced Medica to come in and step inside, and we carried on a lot of health checkups, not only for the caddies, but also for their families. Rajan himself was very instrumental in, negotiating with Medica. And we worked for 1 year with them, where they did a number of camps in Tolly, where all the caddies and their family members were screened. They were given prescriptions, medicines, so on and so forth. And after 1 year, when all the screening was over, we decided that we will now not tie up with Medica and the insurance company that had been recommended at that point in time, but we will take care of the caddies ourselves. Rajan will explain to you why we decided to go ahead and do the so-called self-insurance ourselves.
Yeah. You see, when we were doing with Medica, we were paying them a fixed fee to come every fortnight to look after the caddies. Now, initially, we used to get a decent number of people. But towards the end of 1 year, we found that though 5 doctors and nurses would come, we'd hardly get 5 caddies come, because this was on their day off, which was a Monday. Now, either their health was too good or they were too lazy. I can't say what was the real reason. But when we were observing the numbers, we realized that probably this was not. And there were quite a few cases where people were hospitalized, and Medica took very good care of them, and with no charge really to CBT. And whatever insurance they got, they got. Whatever was short, they paid from their own pocket. But at the end of after the year, we realized that whatever we were paying, at 20,000 every second week, was still a substantial amount of money. And why should we not directly look after the health of the caddy? Then we debated a lot amongst ourselves. We explored quotations from several insurance companies, and we found that the total corpus available to us would go only in insurance. And so and that would only happen if they had to go to the hospital. What happened if somebody had the normal kind of illness at home, or any other family member had it? So we said, no, I think we considered that it would be better we do a self-insurance, as Viren said. And I'm so happy to report that it has really worked smoothly, no issues, no false claims, because people have been told one false claim, you're out of the system. So they recognize that, and they know that it is for their protection, so they don't misbehave with it, which is, I'm very happy about that. And earlier, when we didn't have enough corpus, we started by reimbursing them 50% of the bills, then kept increased it to 70, then to 80, and currently we pay 90%. It's a matter of principle. If you give everything free, it gets less value, it gets wasted. If you need 10 pills, you'll buy 20 because you don't have to pay a penny out of it. Now, here, this is a very simple principle. If you have a small stake even in it, you will not misuse it the wrong way. And I don't know whether any other golf club has this type of a system. I know Delhi Golf Club has got an insurance policy. I don't know about Bangalore and a few others, but I think that ours is, to us, the best way to proceed. Now, obviously, once we have covered the medical part, we were always exploring as our funds started coming in, donations started coming in. We started organizing CBT tournaments for our members every year. We collected some money out of those, which went into our corpus and for our spending. And what I'd like to share with you is currently we have close to 200 caddies on our what we call the registered list. And if you include the family members, all told together, we are looking at a number of about 435. That means any one of these 435 people falling sick or needing any help can approach, submit a bill, and get reimbursed. The reimbursement process is less than 2 weeks, sometimes within the week, depending on how long the processing takes from the club to us. Because this is something I must acknowledge very deeply, that without Tolly's back-end support, this whole system would not have worked. They know the caddies personally, the caddy masters are involved, and consequently, everything is now under control. Last year, one of the major tasks that was falling on our shoulders was when the COVID came. And CBT appealed to the president, and we said that if you help us, we will help the caddies. As you know, in most clubs, the club does not like a direct, hands-on, face-to-face relationship with what they call, external agencies because of whatever legal reasons. So we became the bridge, the most critical bridge, and then the club members and the GC really recognized our value during such a pandemic. And we said, don't worry, you give us the money, we'll give you a full accounting. And I can tell you that last year when they gave us, we earned roughly about 25.18 lakhs, 23.41 was spent only on caddy relief, spread over roughly 198 people, with each one receiving 13,000 during the COVID period. Now, this year, we are in a similar situation, exactly, if not maybe as worse. And we are very hopeful that the club will again come forward and help in the similar manner. Basically, it's the members making a voluntary donation. Those who don't desire are more than welcome to say, sorry, we are not interested. But what we have seen from the past, almost out of 4,500 members, I would say 99% of them paid up. And I expect a similar performance this year. And consequently, the caddies can then get well protected. Obviously, whatever is left over, we continue to spend it on not only medical expenses. Unfortunately, last year we could not do a tournament for the CBT caddies. But once the lockdown will be over this year, we hope to do that when they have a special occasion to celebrate. And this year also, because as a gift from the members that they donated during this period, we gave every caddy a nice fleece jacket, CBT logo on it, which they wear with great pride and honor. And during the winter months, they're very, very happy to wear it. They all look well dressed, and that's, I think, our objective there has been well served.
What Rajan has said is absolutely right. But on top of that, I wanted to add that it's a very collective effort.
Yes.
The Tolly Golf Department, the Tolly Accounts Department, in their individual capacity, not as Tolly employees, have gone out of their way to help us in maintaining the records, to help us in maintaining or scrutinizing the bills submitted by these caddies. Because you see, if you are reimbursing 90% of the expenditure incurred, somebody needs to scrutinize it. And they have been doing that because we don't want to spend money on overheads or something, administrative expenses. Our only expenses of the CBT is on getting our accounts audited, period. Nothing else. Not a single penny is spent on anything else. Everything else is spent on the beneficiaries. Now, what we also did was that people like GKB opticians, they came forward. We also had a camp by the hospital, which is Shankar Nitrale. They came to Tolly. They conducted an eye camp. First, GKB conducted an eye camp, then they conducted an eye camp, and then people who couldn't see properly, and a caddy with a poor eyesight is the worst thing any golfer would want to have. And his livelihood depends upon his eyesight. So the Shankar Nitrale, we were able to tie up with them, and they were able to perform cataract surgery on the caddies who had to undergo that. We provided them shoes during rainy season. We also, as Rajan said, during winters, we provided them with fleece jackets. We've also provided them with their children, because we want their children not to become caddies, but to become something in life. So we have been giving them support in terms of education. So we are reimbursing up to a certain limit the school fees of all the caddies' children.
100%.
100%. Then we wanted to support the girl child of the caddy. So for the marriage, we are giving a small ex gratia. But more importantly, we would want to do more and more for the caddies' children, so that they get out of this, the trap of being underemployed and then getting back into that. So we want to do that, but unfortunately, our hands are tied. We used to get a lot of support from the corporates. Since the time this COVID has started, I'm sorry to say, but the support from the corporates is not there. And I don't blame them for that, because half the corporates are themselves in trouble. So we have not been able to raise it. We used to hold tournaments. And for the golf tournament, we used to get good sponsorship. That also we have not been able to hold, as Rajan has pointed out to you. So we are also going through a very tough time. And as Rajan mentioned, even in this instance, even before Tolly said that they will get to request the members to contribute, we had disbursed the first set or first tranche of payment to the caddies, because we realized that with the lockdown they would be virtually on the starving. So we had to do something, and we have done that. And we are indeed very grateful to the Tolly members, those who are giving not only what the club has asked them, but certain members have given much more than what the club has minimum requested them to give. And our special thanks to all the members of the club who support CBT and who have supported CBT in the past. Before we start discussing, Rajan very clearly said that the sky is the limit for us. We want to do whatever is possible for the caddies. We want them to become self-sufficient, stand on their feet, and children to grow. But besides that, today our foremost focus is to get through the very difficult period of COVID, where we provide them with a minimum sustenance, where we can ensure that they don't die of starvation. They don't have to beg for their food. We want them not to lose their self-respect, because all of them are very respectable people. And as Rajan had pointed out earlier to you also, we have not come across a single case of somebody trying to submit fake medical bills. Now that speaks very highly about the character of our caddies, and also the people who are scrutinizing them and helping us scrutinize it from Tolly. But in the long run, we really want to build a big corpus so that the whole thing becomes self-sustaining. That was our original idea. When Mr. Ramaswamy, we had our first meeting, I still remember, we had a big target of reaching a corpus of, how much was it, Rajan?
1 crore.
1 crore.
Yeah.
We are nowhere near 1 crore.
Yeah.
Because last 1.5 years, we have not been able to raise much. So whatever we have been using it is because we've invested it judiciously, and Rajan, has invested it very well. He is the person who actually manages the finances. He, of course, consults everybody, but I don't think of any instance where anybody has said otherwise than what Rajan has recommended. So all the money has been invested in safe places where the returns are minimal, but we want to grow this corpus. 1 crore is probably too small a figure. We would want it to be more than 1 crore, but that's what was our original target. We want the corpus to make CBT self-sustainable.
There's one more thing we would like to do. Of course, the club does do periodically what they call a training program for the caddies. But I think the level that they do in our neighboring club is more deeper. And I think if we use that as a benchmark, this is an area where we would need some special help from people like you and Vandana and others who want to give some of their time voluntarily to improve the standard of the golfer, of the caddy. And then subsequently, once we reach a certain stage, like they have in the neighboring club, grade the caddy so the better ones have a chance of a better income. And therefore, it becomes an incentive for those who are just coming around for a casual, spending 4 hours and carrying a bag. They get some motivation that why can't I, increase my per round income. And this is something that will take some effort on our part. But I think that people are intelligent, as Viren says. The caddies are very intelligent. We need to just put it in their head. We have debated this. Some people say, well, differentiation is not good. Some people say, we have between ourselves, we are still debating. But since we have a success story next door, I think it's well worth giving it a try. This is one thing, so that their income levels automatically would improve with as many rounds as they are able to play. One thing that we have, of course, done, we have several people who can come and just work for one individual, and are therefore, so we looked at that. We said, well, you're supposed to be serving all the members with a minimum number of rounds. So we picked up an idea from another club, from a club in Delhi, Delhi Golf Club, and they have defined what is the minimum criteria, which is 144 rounds. And we figured that it was a very reasonable number, that somebody who wants to make a career out of being a golfing caddy, 144 is an easy number. And I can tell you, even during the COVID period, I have the records, some people have crossed 340, even in the half the year that it was open. So it is not something that is difficult to do.
No, what we find is about 50 caddies get bulk of the work. The rest of the caddies will get work off and on. The reason why some of them are probably not getting enough work is because they need to upgrade their skills. So
Yes.
that is what Rajan was mentioning, that we need to work along with these caddies and possibly with your help, Indrajit, to upgrade their skills. And some young ones could even someday, from being a caddy, become coaches also. On a lighter note, I would say it's like the relationship between a husband and wife. Everything wrong is on because of the other person. Everything is right because of I'm right. So all our mistakes, we put it on the caddy. That's just meant to be a joke. That's not. I'm not seriously mentioning that. But we're very dependent upon our caddies. I think the relationship, I personally would say the relationship is very similar to what one has with his personal assistant of many, many years. You can't live without them. And when they're in front of you, take them for granted. You just cannot work without your PA if you are dependent upon a particular PA for a long period of time. And so is the case with the caddy. You put me with any other caddy, I have a tough time. It's my caddy who knows how I will play, who I will tell whatever I need to say. I've also known of caddies who are permanently attached to certain members who actually tell the member, you don't know how to play. And the members tolerate them also because they know that what probably he's saying is right. The fellow, he has made a mistake, which he has not followed his advice. But personally, for me, my caddy is like my PA of long, and my caddy has been with me since 2008, from the day I started playing golf. So from 2008, he's been my caddy. So obviously, I just depend upon him too much.
I have a similar story. My caddy is if I'm playing, he will not go with anybody else. I give him a call, I'm playing. So he'll call, if he has taken any other booking, he'll decline. And then he asked me one day, and he's educated, he's a BA. So then he says, I want to start a business. Can you loan me 20,000 to buy some second-hand computers, and I can rent a room and start teaching kids in my area for a very small pittance fee, and teach them computers because they have no computers in their schools. So I said, how? I can give you a loan, but it is a returnable loan. I'm not giving you any charity. He says, no, I don't want charity. I'll return your money, which he did. He did fully to the last rupee. Last time I asked him, I said, and that was before the COVID, and I said, how many students do you have now? I thought maybe he'll say 20, 30. He says, sir, we have crossed 100 and close to 180. 180 students he's teaching computer, including his wife. So for him, this is one person who does not have to caddy anymore in a normal circumstance. But he's committed for his rest of his life to caddy for me as long as I will play. That is the, let's say, the bonding.
Bond.